The Little Books of Blessing. Well, the fourth book in the Little Books of Blessing series is called The Great Compass Quest. Let's turn it over and see what it has to say on the back. "What is the Great Compass Quest?" asked Timmy and Phoebe as they inspected their new compasses. Grandma and Grandpa had booked the four into a weekend adventure. The children needed to learn how to use a compass and follow a map to find the promised treasure. But the journey is not what they expect, and the markers are not easy to find. They must learn how to trust their map and the movement of their compass. When Grandpa reads the next chapter from the eternal love story, they discover they are not the only ones to need to learn how to have faith. In this fourth little book of blessing, we learn the King's desire for his family to trust in him and in his ability to fulfill his promises. The eternal King invites you on a quest to learn how to trust in him so he can fulfill all his promises in your life. Well, let's dive in and discover what this little book of blessing is all about. The story is called The Great Compass Quest. Timmy and Phoebe were coming to stay for a whole week. Their mother and father were away on a business trip. Lois had made the beds in the guest room and Fred had cancelled his Saturday golf game. Now a gentle tap on the front door sent Lois into a flurry. Come in, take your bags into the guest room, it's all ready." "Did you leave us a surprise on our beds, Grandma?" Timmy raced into the bedroom, not waiting for an answer. There on the pillows sat something Timmy had never seen before. Timmy and Phoebe squealed with delight as they inspected their discovery. They carried their treasures into the kitchen. "What's this, Grandma?" Timmy asked. "Why do we need a compass?" Phoebe added. "We've got something really special in store for us to do," exclaimed Grandma. She seemed almost excited as the children. "I've booked us all into the Great Compass Quest. A friend of mine did it with her grandchildren and they absolutely loved it. I thought we'd give it a go." "What is the Great Compass Quest?" "Well, that's the thing. It will be a new experience for us all." "But what did your friend tell you about it?" "Not as many details as I would have liked," Grandma chuckled. "All I know is you'll need to learn how to use a compass. We leave on Friday evening. We find more when we get there." On Friday afternoon, when the children arrived home from school, Grandpa had already packed the car. The boot was piled high with bags. Phoebe and Timmy noticed Grandma had even managed to fit her special big book in the boot. They had no sooner jumped into the car than Grandma and Grandpa turned around and with a twinkle in their eyes announced, "Children, our adventure begins right now. We have been given the coordinates showing us where we are to travel, but you will need to use your compasses to find out where the meeting place is." With a look of bewilderment, Phoebe glanced across at Timmy. "You mean you both don't know where we're going?" Timmy exclaimed. "And you don't know the way we need to go to get there?" Phoebe asked with a frown. "That's why it's an adventure. We need to trust the instructions we have been given. We need to follow them exactly. That is how we will find where we need to go." Grandpa sat at the wheel patiently waiting for Phoebe to tell him which way he was to drive. Neither Grandpa nor Grandma seemed worried at the prospect of setting out to an unknown destination, and they assured Timmy and Phoebe they had every confidence in their newly discovered orienteering skills. They believed they were up to the task. As the sun went down, the night filled the sky. The travellers were relieved to see the well-lit sign of South Lakes Scenic Park. It did not take long for a sprightly young girl to show the family to their allocated cabin. "Hurry, all of you!" Timmy wailed. "I want to know how this all works." "And I want to know what the final prize is," Timmy added. Timmy and Phoebe almost pulled Grandma and Grandpa along the pathway towards the meeting hall. "Are you ready for an adventure?" The organizer boomed over the microphone. The crowd of about 50 families cheered enthusiastically. At 8 o'clock in the morning, all our questarians are to assemble at the lake's quest entrance. Be sure to wear a hat and carry plenty of water and some snacks. You'll need to keep up your energy for this type of adventure. You'll be given a quest bag and the quest map, showing you the coordinates for your first checkpoint. You will need the quest map to open the combination lock on each box. Remove one of the pieces of the puzzle from the box. You can store it in your quest bag. By the end of today, you should have found 5 pieces of the quest puzzle. This will keep you on track for Sunday's finale. That day you will need to find the remaining 5 pieces of puzzle. The final prize will be worth all your hard work. Timmy and Phoebe wondered how they were ever going to get to sleep that night, so Grandma suggested reading a small part of the eternal love story. It could be just the thing to settle their excitement. So she began to read. The eternal king drew near to his throne and turned the page of the grand golden book sitting beside his throne. The angels knew it was time to hear the next chapter. My new family awaited eagerly for my promised seed to come. As each day passed, the seed of pride that had entered into the world spread like wildfire throughout the land. The plague of darkness grew and grew until my beautiful creation was filled with evil and wickedness. I could not allow such evil to get even worse. I sent some of my messengers to search the earth for a person whose heart had not strayed from me. Only a man named Noah was found. Noah and his family trusted in my desire to protect the earth from the evil that had spread without restraint. He was willing to partner with me in washing evil from the earth. It was then that I began to establish a new type of relationship with my family. The new relationship would open the way for my promised seed to come. As time passed, even Noah and his family failed to live according to the pattern that I had set out for my creation. Yet I would not abandon my promise to be faithful to my family, even though I knew they could not remain faithful to me. Later members of my family began to try to reach heaven without me, to make a name for themselves. I knew it was time for a new type of relationship to be established with those in my family who still searched for me. So once again I sent my messengers to search the earth for a person whose heart was genuine and true. Finally, I found a man who was willing to leave behind all that he knew to begin a journey of learning who I am. Abram was not a perfect man. The seed of pride had spread to everyone, but when I called to him, he listened and obeyed. That is what set him apart from all the others who were living in my broken world. The angels began to whisper amongst themselves. "Yes, you are correct," acknowledged the king. He set out in absolute trust, not knowing where he was going. He did not know very much about me at all. But that was exactly what I wanted. I wanted to teach Abram about the amazing quality of my earthly kingdom. The angels grew quiet. The king had more to tell. They leaned forward expectantly. I wanted to teach Abram how to live by faith. The angels looked at each other. They were puzzled. They all found faith a strange concept. to believe in something that cannot be seen, to trust in someone who cannot be touched. Indeed, the angels agreed, to have faith was to have a unique, godlike ability. Grandma closed the book. "Oh, Grandma, the story hasn't finished," complained Timmy. "Yes, but we have a big day tomorrow and I need bright eyes and all our energy. We're about to undertake our own adventure, and Grandma and I are trusting in your navigational skills to guide us," added Grandpa. The warm sun greeted the four adventurers as they gathered with the other families to embark on the great quest. With map and compass in hand, the four stepped into the dense forest to begin their trek to their first marker. Thankfully, the first marker was relatively easy to find. Grandma said it was probably designed that way to give them confidence. Timmy unlocked the first box and retrieved the first piece of puzzle. They carefully stored it in their quest bag. They treasured that little piece of oddly shaped cardboard like it was gold. The journey to the next marker was a little bit more difficult. As all the other families were progressing through the quest course on their own carefully prepared path, it was impossible to follow the course of another family. Every family had to follow their own unique path, following the clues in each box. When the third marker came into sight, Timmy's tummy growled again. They all agreed it was time for lunch. The children were confident. After all, they had 3 pieces of puzzle in their bag. Only 2 more pieces needed to be found by the end of the day. Although the 3 pieces did not fit together, there was much discussion as to what the puzzle's final picture might be. With renewed strength, the 4 orienteers set out to find the final 2 markers. When the 4th puzzle piece was finally found, so much of the final picture was revealed. The children sped off down the trail with such eagerness that Grandma and Grandpa could scarcely keep up. However, the hunt for the 5th marker was not easy, and their enthusiasm began to wane. "Timmy, looking at all the tall trees, I think we took a wrong turn." "Maybe," agreed Phoebe as she turned the quest map in various directions in the hope that it would reveal which track they were on. "What did the last sign say?" "I'm sure the sign was Abraham's Gully, and that's the one we need," Grandma said with some degree of confidence. "But don't forget, there was a fork in the track. We went left. Perhaps we should have gone right." Thankfully, another family happened to be passing along the same pathway. Grandpa asked them how far they were from base camp. It was late in the afternoon and the sun was quickly descending. Sadly, Timmy and Phoebe realized they had to be content with finding only 4 puzzle pieces. As they walked back to their cabin, Timmy and Phoebe felt the day had been a failure. "Well, let's see what we learn from the eternal love story," Grandpa suggested after dinner. "Perhaps all is not lost." "In the heart of my friend Abram, I planted a dream," the king continued. "It was for that reason I knew he was the one who could partner with me in accomplishing my mission on earth." "What was the dream?" asked an angel who sat nearby. "Abram and his wife Sarai longed to have a family, a child to carry on their family line. The angels did not understand such a desire. The grace to make families was a privilege the king had bestowed only on his human family. I knew his dream was just the right way for me to bring my blessing and grace back into the earth. If I could give him a picture of my promise, He would become my partner in bringing my blessing to everyone. I knew that to bring my promise to pass, my friend Abram would need to show the world how to believe in me for the impossible. It would take the passing of time for the seed of faith I planted in Abram's heart to grow. I knew if I kept reminding him of my promises and kept giving him signs that his seed of faith was growing, the fruit of the seed of faith would sprout. There were times when my friend Abram doubted my promise would ever eventuate. He made many mistakes as he learned how to walk with me following my pattern. Yet through each test his faith grew stronger and the vision of my promise crystallized. From the time he began to use the name I chose for him, the name Abraham, the vision had grown so strong he began to see glimpses of the future garden sanctuary, the eternal dwelling that I was in the process of establishing on my earthly home. When the vision within his heart aligned with mine, it did not take long before the whole nation had formed, my special people, a people who would be an example to the nations of my Sabbath pattern, and so bring blessing to all the nations of the earth. Grandpa closed the book and looked at the others sitting around the little cabin table. Well now, I can see some very different faces from the ones I saw when we returned home this afternoon, said Grandpa, looking at eyes that sparkled and bright. We have another whole day to find the last pieces of the puzzle, Timmy explained. I reckon we can do it. So do I, agreed Phoebe. Abraham had to trust the king to guide him step by step through life, and he didn't have a map or a compass. So I guess if we trust the map we've been given, we will get the reward we've been promised. Filled with the expectation of tomorrow's search for the promised treasure, the children were already asleep when Grandma gently whispered, "Aren't you pleased the King has given us his eternal love story to be the map that guides us through life?" Well, on the second last page of every little book of blessing, the author has written a letter to her readers, and this is what the letter says. Dear reader, some things are best explained as a story. This story is part of the Little Books of Blessing series. Each story is designed to illustrate a simple truth about God or tell a story from God's Word in a creative and engaging manner. My prayer is as you read this little book or as you read the story to your little one, you may be reminded of the eternal good news story told by the grand author before time began. May each story encourage you and give you hope as we await the glorious future God has prepared. If you wish to know more about God's amazing plan for you, I would love to hear from you. With every blessing, Melinda McMahon. And the next book in the Little Book of Blessings series is currently being written, so check back soon.